if you're just an investment company and you just want to buy up properties because you think they're profitable, you don't know much about the actual industry itself and how it moves.
I mean, at the same point in time, you see this go on in all the other markets too.
You see
it.
What the hell is going on with Embracer Group?
Apparently not really anything good.
Yeah, let me tell you about that. So we've been getting some different reports over the course of the last few months, and I guess it just kind of like fell under my radar because I was dealing with other things. But
yeah.
There's been some news that has led up to more recent stuff that's happening with some of their brands.
Honestly, it fallen under my radar too until I heard just his most recent one, which now at the time of recording is about 10 days ago.
Right.
I just heard about it a couple days ago. So when I shared it with you, I was like, "Did you hear about this?" And you're like, "No, actually, I didn't." I'm like, "Cool. Let's talk about that. It's a little important, actually."
Yeah, and believe it or not, even more recent news from when you had shared for me, we have as well. But I think that it might be useful to kind of go back a little bit in time. So we're gonna
time travel. Ho!
That's right. We're listening to the Call of Void right now. If you don't know who Embracer Group is, they're like an investment company, and they've been buying up a lot of game studios to put under their branch. Little bit of a backstory is that Embracer bought Gearbox, which is going to be important in a minute, for $1.3 billion back in 2021. And then
That's a small amount of money.
Yeah, just chump change, really. And then they also bought Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal for $300 million in 22. Those will also be important.
I feel like that's a really small amount of money to buy those three.
It's not bad considering, like, you have to remember, things like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain. That's a lot of big moves for an investment group that isn't specifically a game company or a game group to make that kind of an investment. It hasn't been going so great in more recent days for Embracer. One of the main reasons is because of a deal that fell through. So, back in May, Embracer Group stock fell 40% after a...
That's a fair amount.
Yeah, that's a lot for a stock to just drop. After a $2 billion mystery deal self-destructed. At that time, we really didn't know what that deal was, but it seemed to be kind of important for Embracer Group, the Swedish company that's been scooping up all of those developers. By August, we had finally gotten a little bit more information on what was going on with that. Turned out that Embracer Group was trying to partner with a Saudi Arabian company named Savvy Games Group that is actually a Saudi government-funded company. And the idea was that Savvy was looking to get into the gaming space as a major gaming label, and so they were going to make an investment with Embracer Group.
Yeah, because from what I've heard, the Saudi government has a lot of money.
I have heard that the Saudis have money, and so I understand why they might want to get into the space. But at any rate, deal fell through. Basically, all you need to know is that the deal fell through, and after the deal fell through, the stock went right through the floor.
And yeah, as you can imagine, a $2 billion deal going down the drain does not invoke confidence
in the market, and it is a confidence
in your
market.
Investors.
Yeah, especially considering that all of those investments that I mentioned before were like not even $2 billion in that entirety. So we kind of understand that $2 billion's a lot for an investment into Embracer. So that has led to where we're at now, where they're in a process of restructuring. Last month, we had some kind of sad news, honestly, where they were shutting down Volition. They own Volition Studios.
Mm-hmm.
After 30 years, they had to shutter the company. And that's
I'm
a
sure
real
it had
shame.
nothing to do with the great sales of Saints Row.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that the new Saints Row not doing well was absolutely not a factor. Volition obviously did Saints Row and Agents of Mayhem and Red Faction. They've done some good work over the years, but yeah, they have not made a real like bestseller for a while now. There's only so many times that they can reissue Saints Row 4 as a new presidential edition or whatever.
Yeah, they can't do a Skyrim for a decade.
Yeah, like as much fun as like Saints Row 3 and 4 are, they do not have the longevity of a Bethesda title. So unfortunately, they had to shutter that. The article that you gave me, though, was from earlier this month, where there is discussion, and I guess it's still in discussion because I can't find any newer information on it, where Gearbox may be getting sold off, and as you know, they just bought that a couple years ago, so we'll see how that goes. Gearbox, of course, a very good studio, has made some good things, has published stuff under their brand in several cases, but has been more famous, I think, mostly for the Borderlands series. Although,
most likely.
Yeah. Not the only thing
Gears
that they
of
do.
War 2.
Yeah. And they also did, oh god, what was the one that took like 14 years to actually come out? Did they...
Duke Nukem?
Yeah, Duke Nukem. Yeah, Duke Nukem was part of that. But at any rate, they're looking to sell off Gearbox. That's usually not a good sign.
It's a great sign. They're doing great.
And so, despite closing Volition and potentially selling off Gearbox, from the Kotaku article that you gave me, Embracer still owes quite a few companies. This includes publishers Deep Silver, THQ Nordic, developer Coffee Stain Studios, developer-publisher Saber Interactive, book publisher Dark Horse Comics, and game distributor Limited Run Games, among others. Yeah, that's always good. Their last acquisition was in October of 22 when the company scooped up British anime distributor Anime Limited. You know, if they were in talks to get this big, infusion of cash, I could kind of understand why they might have an interest in, like, buying this stuff up. If they thought that there were deals to be made and investment to be had, why they want to build.
Listen, I'm not a high-stakes investor. I'm not a high-money investor or anything, but I feel like writing a check with your mouth that you can't cash is a bad idea. I feel like if I were to go, hey, I want to buy that new truck. I know it's $100,000, but listen, I've got all these little Pokemon cards here, and they're going to be worth so much money.
Mm-hmm.
So much money. Oh, the price and all those things dropped?
Yeah.
Oh, no. But I already bought the truck.
Yeah.
I
mean, I thought we were rolling in dough over here. We got mad podcast money. Come on. we could buy Embracer.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy a whole...
Let's buy Gearbox.
Lunchable.
let's buy Gearbox.
So the thing I did hear, from one of the videos I was listening to, which kind of enlightened me to this too, is that one of the thoughts was that they were gonna maybe sell Gearbox off to itself. They might be like, Gearbox, hey, you're kind of your own thing. We're gonna sell you to yourself, essentially, and let you be your own company again. Right,
because they were at one point, like before they were bought by Embracer. They had been like a private studio.
Right.
And you know what? That'd be fine, because I think that they kind of earned their stripes while they were like their own independent company. So maybe that would be good.
I feel like Coffee Stain could do well on its own too, honestly, because Coffee Stain publishes stuff under their label as well. They own Satisfactory. They own Goat Simulator is also Coffee Stain, and they have a ton of other games that they publish for.
Yeah, but the most recent news that I had in this whole debacle is that Crystal Dynamics has announced layoffs as part of Embracer Group's restructuring, and that is just within like 24 hours. It is 10 employees at the moment that have been let go from the studio.
It's not really a lot, depending how big the studio is, though.
Not a lot. It looks like every division will be part of its restructuring plans for Embracer Group. 9 of the affected employees are from the brand and marketing division, which I can kind of understand. They might not need to do a lot of branding at the moment. Well, one was from IT, but it has come after months after the studio said that it would not be part of job cuts. So obviously that was a lie. At least it was a truth that did not come to pass, we'll say. So there are indeed layoffs that are going on in some of the other studios that are under Embracer, and after they paid so much money for them. I guess my takeaway from having looked at all of that is, you had mentioned earlier, like, maybe it's not a great idea to have investment companies that are not specifically gaming companies doing the buying of all of these, and I'm kind of with you on that. If you're just an investment company and you just want to buy up properties because you think they're profitable, you don't know much about the actual industry itself and how it moves.
I mean, at the same point in time, you see this go on in all the other markets too. You see it especially in like the housing market.
Oh yeah.
Where these big, I guess some of them are like lawyer firms. Like firms will buy apartments and houses and stuff, and they'll rent them out and all that stuff. They buy them, and then their company is part of a bigger company. Same kind of deal. These are just basically investment properties to them.
Right.
And I don't like it.
No, it's generally a bad thing, and I think the problem that we're going to start seeing, and who knows, this might discourage companies from doing it, is that you would eventually have like maybe 3 big investment companies that will own all of the game studios that aren't specifically indie studios. And I don't think that that's particularly good. Then it's just a money's game, and it doesn't really matter what the product is that you're putting out. It doesn't matter if you have the resources you need to create a good product. It's just number go up sort of situation. Right. But hey, you know what, Alex? Though I think we could buy Gearbox.
You think we got that podcasting money?
No, I don't have the podcasting money, but I've heard NFTs might be worth some money.
Oh yeah, so you saw that they were down like 95% of what they were worth, right?
NFT, yeah. Well, I heard, but that's FUD. That's fear. That's fear of getting involved. No, they say that they're basically worthless now, but don't believe the haters, folks.
Yeah, I was gonna say what we should do is a segment where we go, we just spent $20 on NFTs, so you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna give them away because they're worthless.
I want those that can get me into the exclusive restaurant where I then have to pay also like $100 and something a plate or something.
Yeah.
Those were great.
Because that's to recoup their costs of the NFTs.
That's right. I love digital tokens. We need digital tokens so that we can buy Gearbox. See if you can make that happen, folks. Anyway, this is a very basic overview. I can leave some links to some of the articles if you want to look into it a little bit further. But we are gonna keep an eye on this specifically because this affects a lot of game studios and the industry as a whole, and seems to be getting very interesting as of late.
Yeah.
So, if you have any thoughts on Embracer Group or what you think might happen, any theories about where you think this is going to shake out, I'd like to hear
any of the studios that they currently still possibly own.
Yeah, and what's going to happen? Yeah, and what's going to happen to them, and if there's even going to be a gaming division of Embracer Group at the end of all of this, or if they're going to
Let's hope they just dissolve the whole company.
They just dissolve the whole thing, and they just sell off the assets.
I hope all the game studios survive, though.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from Volition,
well,
I guess.
Volition's already gone,
Volition.
so sorry, Volition. My prediction is that if Embracer Group does go away or they dissolve the gaming division, several of these studios are probably going to get shuttered, which is sad.
That's not fun. No. That's the disappointment. So.
Yeah, I'm disappointment. Yeah, I don't like that at all. But if you have any theories or you have thoughts on what you think's going to happen or new information, please let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to hear from you.